everyone, this is Jackie Williams, and in this video I want to share with you a fun technique for watercoloring that uses your ink refills. And you can modify this technique, but this gives you a nice way to get a watercolored effect, even if you are just beginning your crafting experience or if you're looking for a new technique. So what I'm going to do is actually use one of my dies. You could create a mask with maybe acetate. I wouldn't suggest paper because it will get wet. I'm just going to use the die itself. And what I'm going to do is take my medium-sized water painter, and inside that die, and this is watercolor paper by the way, I'm just going to paint it wet. So there's no color, as you can see, and it's pretty wet. Okay, and then I'm going to take that die away. Now it's not going to create a perfect circle, and I possibly could have gotten this ready first. I'm going to use a drop of cloud cover, and I just decided I would put a drop of water in there first, and then all I'm going to do is touch that down on this water, and it should just start spreading. Maybe need a bit more water. In fact, I might just drop it on like this. And it's only going to go where that water is that we put on initially. I'm just going to let it spread naturally where it wants to go. And then I think for this video, let's do the yellow. I know that when yellow and blue mix, we might get a little bit of green there, but that's okay. And then we'll just drop that yellow into there. So now you can really see. And then I'm just going to let that do its thing. Just let it move and the colors blend as they want. I'm just going to pause the video and let that dry naturally for 5 or 10 minutes. Okay, so I let it dry for about 10 minutes, and then I dried it with a heat tool, which gives you these little lines, which I don't mind, but here's where the colors mix, and I got a little bit of green through here. So that's happens when you kind of hurry it along, but I suggest, if possible, just let it dry naturally, and then you'll just have the blue and the yellow with a little bit of green, but that's okay. So what I'm going to do next is stamp this with the Prairie Grass stamp. And I am going to stamp it with Stays On. I have dried it, but just in case, I'm wondering, no, I think I like it best that way. But just in case it's not completely dry, I'm using a waterproof ink, whereas if we used a water-based ink like Memento, it's possible that the ink would run. So you just need to ink it up nicely and then be fairly quick with your stamping because this ink dries very fast. Okay, there we go. And I actually think that looks beautiful with the different colors in there. I'm just going to trim this a little bit smaller. Okay, then we'll stamp our words. I'll also use Stays On for this. And then I have prepared just a simple card base using the Cloud Cover two-toned. I've used the light side for the background and then the darker side for the next layer, and just put some linen thread around that piece. And then we'll just put this stamped layer on top. Let's use some of the frosted iridescent dots, and I think those clear or the blue ones would look nice. Let's go with the blue ones. Actually, I'll go with the clear ones. And they can pick up the different colors that are in there, like this. And there we go. There is our beautiful card with the Prairie Grass. Now here's one that I made earlier. And the only difference is I use petal pink instead of the yellow. And I let it dry naturally so we don't have these lines in there. I quite like the lines. So it's just two different looks. I want to show you some other samples using this same technique of just getting your area wet and then dropping the ink onto it gently and letting it spread naturally. So this project's using the Charming Day. You can see that there's a nice mixture of Timid Tiger and Strawberry Slush there in the flowers. And then in the leaves, I have Old Olive and Lost Lagoon. So it just gives it a really nice color variation. And then for this sample, I've used the Ornamental Christmas, and I wanted to use this tree here. And for this one, I kept it quite monochromatic. And I have used Pretty in Pink and Strawberry Slush. There you go. You can see it a little bit better there. There is some color variation in there, but it's two tones of the same color, just for something a little bit different. And for this sample, I've used the Jolly Delivery. I wanted to use this fun polar bear, although the way I've colored him, he's not a polar bear. He's more of a brown bear. But what I did here, the colors actually, as they sat, just kind of blended, but there's still some color variation in there. I used Gray Granite and Crumb Cake for him. So he looks a little bit textured, actually, with the difference in colors there. And for this sample, I used the Light and Wonder set and got the whole background wet and then just dropped Berry Burst, Gorgeous Grape, and Night of Navy and just let them spread and create this beautiful background for this sample. So there are my projects to share with you using this ink refill technique. I hope you enjoyed that. Please feel free to share with a friend, leave me a comment, and of course subscribe. This is Jacque Williams, and I'll see you next video. Bye-bye.